19th of July, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Okay. Let's see, where did we get up to yesterday? Today is Tuesday. Oh, okay. So that was the Tanis. We did the Ibois Ema, Kilo Apich. Now, we're in the middle of this. We're in the middle of this brisa, right? So the Gemora. We're trying to figure out how to understand Rav when Rav said the halacha follows Reb Meir. So we're right now in the second teretz of the Gemora. The Gemora says. Ibois Ema. This is on the let's see, where's the Ibois Ema? This is it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines from the bottom of 96b. So if I remember correctly, that's page 4, 94b4, 96b4. And the Ibois Ema, so this is an alternative explanation of Rav that you paskin like Reb Meir. And the Gemara said, Hello, Apech, Chada Mikame Chada. This that we don't switch around a Mishnah just because a Brisa says opposite is when we have one Mishnah against one Brisa. Over here, we have Chada Mikame Tarte. Here, we have one Mishnah and it's going against two Brisas that both say the same, that both agree with one another against the Mishnah. So in that case, Apech. Rav would switch around the opinions in the Mishnah to accord with the two brises. Let's say the opposite. Okay, so now we're gonna have to go over again this brisa and go to the.
Phil, you got us mute.
Yeah, you're right. I do have to mute. It is.
Thank you.
Right. What we had done so far is we had read the entirety of the brisa, at least the entirety of the brisa that the Gemora relates to us, and we saw the opinion of Reb Meir, and we're talking over here. We're talking over here about a case where we're talking about here about the sale of a female maidservant. And what happened was, Rashi explained us in this long Rashi Dibra Maskal HaMachlif, that what happened is that when it comes to a shivcha, female maidservant, so the money could be given as a kinyan, and that kinyan could take place even though the female maidservant is busy giving birth in the hospital in another location. And so like that, Rashi concludes over here in the last few lines, we do not know, lo yadinin hashta, ikvar yolda. Oh, right, well, yeah, Rashi's talking about the para over here, but we're yeah, well, it's actually the small Rashi. You'll be happy to know it's the small Rashi that we're talking about now, not the large Rashi. Small Rashi, V'kein amocha shivchasoi. After the long one, there's a small one, V'kein amocha shivchasoi. It's about 5 lines, the bottom, the last 5 narrow lines of Rashi before the spread. And Rashi told us, Eved Kanani nikna bekesef. A Eved Kanani or a female Eved Kanani, which we call a shivcha, is acquired with kesef, just like property is. V'afugav she'ein lefanenu b'shas matan mos. And even though the Eved, the female maidservant, is not in front of us at the time of the giving of the money, which represents the kinyan. So she's in the hospital now, and as a result of that, we do not know whether the right on the side that the kinyan took place before she gave birth. So then the baby Eved will belong to the seller, and on the side that it took place afterwards, so then the baby Eved will belong to the buyer. And here we don't know. So in this case, we have a machlokes over here between Rebbe Meir and the Chachamim. Rebbe Meir, if you go in the Brisa, we're talking about a case where Ze Omer B'Rishusi, each one, the buyer and the seller, each one of them makes a claim that the baby was born in their reshus. And so in that case, the Brisa, which we're going to see is the view of Rev Meir, says Yishava hamocher sheb'reshuso yolda. The seller will make a shvua that the baby was born in the reshus of the seller. Lefi shekol nishboin b'torah nishboin below mashalmin, because that is the one who makes the shvua. The one who makes the shvua is the one who after the shvua he doesn't have to pay. That's the shvua of the Torah, and that's the words of Reb Meir. So according to that, the seller will make the shvua, and so therefore, if he makes the shvua, he will take the baby. But the Chachamim say no, ein nishboin lo ala vodim lo ala karko. So we see over here that the Chachamim, they say no shvua in this case. There's no shvua in this case with the Eved and the birth, because an Eved has a halachic. He has the same halacha as the karka. We not mean to say, of course, that an Eved is a piece of land, but we mean to say that his halacha is going to be the same halacha that we say about karka. And just like we say about karka, that there's no shvua that's given on karka in a dispute, so too in the case of the Eved, there's no shvua on the Eved. So who do we see over here according to this brisa? Who's the opinion that says that the Eved has a legal comparison to karka? That's the Chachamim. And it's Rebbe Meir who says no. He says otherwise. The Eved does not have a halachic comparison to the karka, and that is the opposite of what it says in our Mishnah. In our Mishnah, it says, in regard to the case of Gezela, it says that Gazel behema v'hiskino avodim v'hiskinu. If he stole an eved and the eved underwent a transformation, a shinui, it got older, and so like that, this that it got older, the Tanakama says mishalem kishas agzela, doesn't have to return the gazlan, the eved, because he's acquired the eved with the shinui that was made, and he will have to pay kishas agzela for this thievery that he did. So according to that opinion, the Chachamim is the Tanakama, and they're saying that you could acquire the eved. Whereas over here in the Mishnah, Rabbi Meir is the one who says, "Oh, avodim, omer lo harei shelcha lefanecha," because according to Rabbi Meir, the thief will be able to say he'll be able to return the eved as is to the owner of the eved, because he was not able to acquire the eved. Because we said before, that would represent the view that an eved is legally compared to karka, and karka cannot be stolen, and so to an eved couldn't be stolen. So therefore, the shinui doesn't make any difference. The gazlan doesn't acquire the eved, so therefore it's still in the reshus of the original owner, and therefore he could return it and say, "Here is your eved as is." So the opinion is of Rabbi Meir and the Chachamim about whether an eved is hukash lekarka is reversed in the Mishnah. So that's what the Gemora is saying over here. Here we see that in addition to the other brisa that we have, we got a second brisa that also accords with the first brisa. So in that case, according to this second alternative answer, we're saying this is the reason why that Rav's paskin like Reb Meir, meaning the Reb Meir, what it says in the Mishnah that an eved is hukash lekarka. Okay. So that's, I know what we didn't do. We have to read Rashi Dibra Maskil Yishaba Hamocher. That we didn't read yet. So this is the other opinion that says that no, the evidence does not have a legal comparison to karka, and therefore you could swear on him. You could swear the mocher will swear. So Rashi has a few lines about this.
Mocher is the seller?
Yeah.
Where's the Rashi?
This Rashi is 1, 2. It's the third narrow line from the bottom before the spread.
Right.
You want me to do it? I don't know if it's not too noisy for me to do it. That's up to you. If not, somebody else will do it. Should I do it, or you'd rather me mute?
It's okay right now.
Okay,
Right.
because I do hear background noise. We'll try for the time being. Yeshava hamocher, that the seller has to swear. The ika hoda'ah, the miktzat, because there is a partial admittance that he made. The ika shua da'araisa, and there would be a shua according to the raisa that you can make. The keta, there's a correction here. What is that correction on?
Bach.
The ba. The correction on the ba. Yeshiva, so the araisa could go on, for example, the kata, the yadav, he cut off his hand, the im, the kitva, and he makes a claim.
Im ketava. Hailokeach shifcha shalema yeshli. I guess you just read it on after that.
Yeah. He added the word kagon. For example, he cut off his hand, and if he makes a claim on it, the e Ella, if he make a claim, Elo Kach, the purchaser, Shifcha, who purchases Shifcha, Shlema, he purchases a whole, a complete servant, female servant. Yeshli b'yadecha, there is with her in his hand, im vlada, if she's pregnant enough. The Zohar, and this one says, Ein Shifcha Shlema. She's not a, this one says she's not a complete, there isn't a, that's basically saying she isn't pregnant. She's not a complete, by being complete, meaning having a blood.
Complete means she is pregnant or she isn't pregnant.
What?
Complete means she is pregnant or is not pregnant.
Complete
Shlema doesn't mean anything about the pregnancy. She's dead. They're in agreement about the woman was pregnant and she gave birth. But the question over here is that
was the timing of blood.
The guy cut off her hand. He cut off her hand. Rashi's telling us a different case than the case of what would seem to be the case of the Brisa. Because he's trying to make a case of a case of moda b'mixis, which is a shvua deraisa. Moda b'mixis means is that the person that is being claimed against is admitting in partial to the claim, and he's denying a part of the claim. And so, like that, in a case like that, where he admits in part and he denies in part, there is the Torah puts an oath on him to swear to what he's defending himself on. And so, in order to make the case that he's moda b'mixas, we have to say that we're talking about a case where the Evid's hand, the box says kigon de kata liada de aim. For example, where the hand of the mother was cut off, and in that case, now we have the lokeach is coming along, and he's saying, "Wait a second over here, shivcha shlema. I have a shivcha shlema, meaning a full-bodied female maidservant that has two hands, and now you're giving me a female maidservant that only has one hand." And the guy is denying it. The seller is saying nothing doing. Ain't shivcha shlema yesh lecha. You don't have a full-bodied female maidservant over here that I'm selling you. You have a female maidservant that is minus a hand. So they're arguing about that part, but they're
I don't understand the argument of the buyer. He's saying that I intended to buy from you a woman with missing a hand.
No, the buyer is saying you were supposed to sell me a mother that had two hands, and I'm also claiming the baby is mine too.
Okay, and the seller is saying, no, I wanted to sell you a woman with one hand.
You never bought a woman that had two hands. You bought a woman that has one hand, and you don't have the baby either.
What do you mean by you bought? He's saying that's what we agreed to?
That's what I guess so, yeah. Rashi doesn't get into the details of the story over here. The way Rashi puts it is Ze Omar, meaning the seller says, Ein shipcha shlema yesh lecha. You do not have a full-bodied shivcha shlema. Avalo yalda. Right. And Rashi says that's a case of moda b'mixas. The modale b'mixas.
I'm sorry, I'm not,
Okay, from the beginning, Yishava HaMocher. The Mocher is going to swear over here. The Mocher is the one who is making the shvua. Says Rashi, the Ika Hodah b'mixas. Because there is a partial admission on part of the mocher to the claim of the lokeach, the buyer.
and what is that admission?
Okay, so we'll read the words again. We'll see where it is that he's admitting.
Okay,
The ikar shvua deraisen, and like that we have an obligation of the mocher to a Torah mandated shvua he has to make over here to deny the claim of his buyer. And then the box says, how is it that it's a motive mixus? The box sticks in over here that kegon. For example, why is it a case like this of a motive mixus? Kegon dekota liyoda de'em. Because, for example, the hand of the mother was cut off, and now ukatava.
what does the hand of the mother being cut off have to do with the partial admission?
Okay, so we're gonna see when we see what both sides are claiming.
Okay,
So the kotava lay high lokeach that like this, in this scenario, the lokeach is going to make the following claim: Shivcha shlema yeshli biyodcha. You have a shivcha shlema yesh that is mine biyodcha, in your possession.
meaning you agreed that you were going to sell me a shifka with two hands.
Yeah, in other words, we made the kinyan. I gave you the money, so the kinyan was made. And now, what did that kinyan purchase? The lokeach tainas, that what he purchased was, he purchased a shifcha shlema, which he has not received yet, im vlada, together with the baby. Im vlada.
Meaning that she had not given birth yet.
Right. Right. Right.
So I bought from you, says the purchaser, a female maidservant with two hands and pregnant with a baby.
Right. The baby belongs to me because the baby was born after the kinyan was made.
Right. I'm with you so far.
Bezeh Omer, and this one says, and this one is referring to the mocher.
Seller.
He's the one who's being claimed against, and we're going to have to find over here in his words a partial admission. He's making a hodah b'mixus. Now, let's just clarify what is an easy classic case of modah mixus. You have a case where somebody claims somebody claims, he says, you owe me 1,000. The claimant says you owe me 1,000, and the claimee, he says, no, I don't owe you 1,000. I only owe you 500. That's a case of moda b'mixus. He's moda to the 500. He's kofer. He denies 500. That's moda b'mixus. So on that, there's a Torah mandated shvua that the claimee has to make to put off the claimer. And if he makes that shvua, he will prevail.
So the one who owes the money has to swear, I only owe you 500.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right. And that's what that is what the Brisa said, that is a classic Torah mandated shvua, that all lefisha kol nishboin, but shebatorah nishboin below mishalmim. They make the shvua and then they don't have to pay. The claimant is saying you owe me 1,000, so he says I only owe 500. So if he makes a shvua to that effect, that's all he owes. So he's gonna thereby exempt himself from not having to pay the other 500. Okay. So now, what is the response of the moker? Ze omer, ein shifcha shlema yesh lecha biyodi. There is no full-bodied shifcha shlema to you in my possession. So that's what he has to say about the first claim of the lokeach. Avalo yalda, avalo vlada. So,
Aval.
in other words, aval means as opposed to yesh. He admitted yesh lecha biyadi. There is to you. I admit that there is to you in my possession a shivcha which is not shlema.
Oh.
Aval, but no vlad. There isn't a vlad in my possession which is yours. That vlad is mine.
So in other words, the half is that he's saying, I don't admit that I have a woman with two hands, like you say, but I do admit I have a woman with one hand. And that's the partial admission.
Yeah, I
Right?
think so.
And then the denial is the Vlad. Is there, she never was pregnant. Or she gave birth before we made our deal.
Oh, that's an interesting point that you say. Yeah, I think it means the latter. They're
Right.
not arguing about whether she gave birth. They're arguing about who owns the baby slave.
Right. Okay, I'm with you.
So like that, Rashi says the modale b'mixus. The mocher is moded to the lokeach. The buyer is admitting in part to the claim of the buyer, and therefore he's going to be making a Torah mandated shvua. Okay, now we go back to Phil to read the rest of the Rashi.
Okay, provided that we're
Umishum helech.
we shouldn't, because of this low mipata. He wouldn't be pata, the hakata, because he cut off his hand. the Rav Halech, and we don't go after who? The low Halech. What would you say Halech is? That go after?
Yeah, okay, so Rashi's mentioning a din over here, the din of Halech, which Rashi tells us, Haki Muchila Bahashoel. Like this principle about Halech. Halech, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, basically means here it is, Halech. Rashi says this is found in this is what we learned in Perik Hashoel, which that Samech says that's on Daf Kuf. So we have not seen that yet. So we'll leave it on the side for the time. So we get to Daf Kuf, Kuf Vav. Oh, so that's 10 blot away. Okay. Okay, so that's the in other words, what the Bach is bothered by is that the Bach is just making Rashi a little bit clear, that we see how we see what the case is, because all of a sudden we would look at, without the Bach, we would look at Rashi and say, what's Rashi talking about? What are they talking about? The shivcha shlema and a shivcha that's not shlema for? What's the whoever mentioned that as being part of their dispute? The whole is, from what we see from the Brisa, is that their dispute is about the baby. Dispute about the shivcha herself. But the Bach is of course 100% right on the mark, because it's clear from Rashi that that's what Rashi's talking about. So the Bach just is adding a word or two over here, just to make it clear that what happened in the story, in addition to the baby being born, was that the mother's hand was cut off. So like that, we can understand the Rashi, and we can understand the Brisa, why the Brisa says that there's a Torah mandated shvua over here. Okay, and so now we could go further. So now,
Why can't we argue mitzvahs from the perspective of the blood? That this the purchaser says, I bought a pregnant woman before the birth, and the seller says, I admit that I sold you a non-pregnant woman after the birth. That's the partial admission. Why do we need to go to the hand? Why can't we just use that part of it as the modus mixtas?
What the dispute is over whether she was pregnant?
Whether the baby was born before or after the agreement. The buyer says, I bought from you a woman with a baby.
Oh, I see what you mean.
No, you didn't. He says, I admit that I sold you a woman without it. That's a partial admission. I don't admit to the whole thing.
Yeah. Well,
why can't we say that?
I would say like this. It seems from the way Rashi's explaining the Gemora that we see that the nature of the case of the Brisa is because of the fact that the kiddush was made not in front of the shivcha, so therefore we have this dispute.
Right.
But according to you, Lou, it doesn't have anything to do with whether the shifcha was you mean want to say she's not there because we don't know whether we don't see that she was pregnant?
No, what I'm saying is there's a dispute because of the fact that she's not there. And the seller is partially admitting, I owe you less than.
But even if she's not there, they would still be able to know that she. That doesn't prevent us from knowing whether she was pregnant and about to give birth, right? We just wouldn't know.
Us from knowing when she gave birth exactly, whether it was before or after the deal.
Right. So if the fact that she's not there, that would very well explain why we don't know whether she gave birth before or after. But the fact that she's not there wouldn't necessarily mean that the buyer, or rather the seller, didn't know that she was pregnant. He could still know that she was pregnant.
I don't think it matters if he knows she's pregnant.
What?
They both agree that she was pregnant. That's not disputed.
In the case, right? They both knew.
So that's irrelevant. The only thing that's relevant is when did the birth occur?
Right. And right. So according to that, we don't have a case of moda b'mixus.
Okay, it's what a time now. Take care.
Okay.
Okay, I guess we can
All the best.
hash this out more tomorrow.
Okay. In other words, the question is, why couldn't we say this is a case of moda b'mixus? Because the buyer is saying, rather the seller is saying, yes, I admit to you that the mother is yours, but I do not admit to you that the baby is yours.
Exactly.
The baby is mine because it was born before we made the transaction. So why wouldn't that be a perfect case of moda b'mixus? Why do we need to bring in this story with the hand?
That's exactly what I'm asking. Yes.
Okay, that's the question. I hear. Okay, now we got it.
All right,
Okay.
Rabbi. Have a great day.
Amen. You too, Lou. Shkoyach.